So I've been promising a workout for the over 70s while we're experiencing this coronavirus isolation whilst we're stuck in our homes and not able to get out and about quite as much as we normally would. Now that's not to say that this workout is only for over 70s. Obviously, if you're somebody else that is at home and just wants to do a bit of gentle movement, then this workout is equally as good for you. And now also, over 70 is a very generic term, and people that are over 70 will vary from being sort of quite youthful, quite fit and sprightly, to people that are a bit more sort of restricted in their movement and want a gentler workout. So what I'm going to do with these, the workout that I'm going to give you, is give you lots of different options. So hopefully you can find an option or a level that is right for you. Now, firstly, obviously it's really important that if you have any underlying conditions or any movement restrictions, any injuries, anything like that, that you are happy, that you are safe to exercise. Now, you might know this already, or that might mean a quick phone call to your GP, perhaps, just to say, I want to do some gentle movements at home. Do you recommend that this is that I'm safe to do so? Now, most conditions, gentle exercise is recommended, but obviously there are a few exceptions to this. And if you do have injuries and any of the exercises that I'm going to show you think are going to be a problem, then please just leave them out. As I say, I'll give you some different alternatives, but even if the easier options are difficult or you think that they might be painful, then obviously just leave them out and just move on to the next exercise. Okay, so you don't need a lot of equipment, but we do need a few little pieces. So the first thing is just to say, make sure that you've cleared yourself for space. So we don't want to kind of bump into anything or knock into anything. I've just put on some comfortable clothes, some t-shirts, tracksuit bottoms. I'm actually bare feet today. You can pop some trainers on if you wanted to, but make sure that your footwear is appropriate for your flooring. So obviously if you're on a hard polished floor, don't wear socks. We don't want anybody slipping and falling over. Trainers would be better, or as I am, bare feet. Or if you want to be in socks on carpet, that would be fine. Make sure you've got some water to hand. Hopefully you'll be hydrated before you start. Maybe have a little glass of water before you start, and then keep some water to hand to sip as we go through. Okay, and then you're going to need a chair. So I've got a nice upright kitchen chair, so nice and sturdy. You might be able to use a sofa or a lounge chair, but obviously they tend to be a little bit lower. So probably a hard kitchen chair, that type of thing, and a wall. And for anybody that is comfortable doing so, we're going to go down onto the floor. So I've got a mat, but you know, you can move yourself onto your carpet or somewhere that's comfortable. And then we want some little bits of resistance. So I've actually just been into the kitchen and I've got 2 tins of tomatoes. So that's what we're going to do for some little bit of resistance. And then possibly a belt or a strap of some sort. You don't absolutely need this, but it could come in useful. So like I say, a belt or a strap off a dressing gown, something like that. Okay, so I'm actually going to split these videos into 2. The first video, I'm going to do a warm-up, some stretching, and then some gentle kind of floor work, if that's a possibility for you, but I will give you standing alternatives as well. I'm going to keep that as one video, and then I'm going to split the second video into kind of a body weight resistance circuit. So that's designed to get your heart rate up a little bit, but also to build a bit of strength and get the muscles working. So 2 separate videos, so you can pick and choose which one you want to watch, or you can obviously watch them and do them consecutively. I'm going to run through the exercises once, and obviously if you want to repeat them, you can either write that down so you've got it at another time, or just replay the video. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to do some warming up. So I'll keep reminding you, but obviously if anything is a problem, just leave it out or make your modifications. Let's go. So we're going to stand nice and sturdy with feet about hip width apart. Stand up nice and tall, and we're just going to do some arm circles, first of all with the right arm. So we're going to take the arm right up, keeping the palm facing in towards the head, and a big circle round. So we're just getting some movement through the joints at the moment. If you don't have full range of movement, then just do what you can. So if your arm circle is a bit like this, that's absolutely fine. Just work within your limits. So we're aiming for about 8 to 10 of these. And then we're going to come forward. So exactly the same hand position. So the palm facing in towards the face for as long as you can. And really stretch the arm up and bring it forward as well. So we want to kind of get these joints nice and lubricated and warmed up before we do any hard work. Okay, let's switch to the left side. So big circle up, and you can follow that hand with your arm, with your eyes as well. Let's go for about 3 more. And then we're going to come forwards. Same way, big reach up, big reach forward. Good. Remember always to keep breathing when you're exercising. Don't hold your breath. We don't want anybody passing out. So nice big breaths, and those muscles really need oxygen when we're making them do some work. Okay, next we're going to take both arms together. We're just going to swing them out to the front, and then a nice fast flick out to the back. So turn sideways, so we're going as far back as we can. Again, your movement might not be as complete as mine, or your range might not be as complete, that's fine. Just work within your range. Keeping the body up and nice and tall, the tummy muscles pulled in nice and tight to provide stability. Okay, next let's take the arms out to the side and give yourself a big hug. So almost flicking them out to the side. So we're warming up through the chest and then stretching out through the back of the shoulders as well. And we're going to kind of crisscross the arms, one on top of the other and then the other. Good, maintaining that nice strong position through the legs. Let's go for about 3 more. You want to aim for about sort of 10 to 12 of each of these exercises. Okay, take the hands down by the side. We're going to swing up to the side and overhead, and at the same time push our hips out. So nice swing up, nice floppy hand overhead, and pushing those hips out to the side, so you'll feel a nice gentle stretch down the side of the body. Good, keep going. Let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, bring the elbows up high, keeping the hands level with the shoulders, and we're just going to rotate through the waist. So quite gentle, don't over twist, keeping the feet planted on the floor, and you're feeling that warm up through the core. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, drop the arms down. Let's just go for a couple of shoulder circles. Big circles round, bringing your shoulders up around your ears and taking them back and right down. We'll just go for 5 of these. 3, 4, and 5, and then forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those shoulders should feel nice and low and away from the ears now. Then we're going to take the head, we're going to take the ear to the right ear to the right shoulder. Okay, if you're comfortable doing so from here, just roll your head forward and finish at the left ear to left shoulder, and then come back the other way. And let's do that again. And back the other way. Now you can either continue with that, or if you want to, we can go out to the back. So from the right ear to the right shoulder, we're going back, left ear to left shoulder, and we can just either do half circles, or if you want to, draw some full circles with the head, which would look like this. So we're going all the way forwards to the left ear and back, and then maybe return the other way. So those neck muscles work hard to keep that head upright through the day. It's just nice to kind of warm that out and give it a little stretch out. Okay, so we're going to go to the legs now. We're going to do a similar thing with the legs. You might want to use a wall or a chair just to hold on to for a little bit of stability. So we're going to pick one leg up, and let's take the right leg, and we're just going to do some little swings from the hip. Good. So again, just as with the arms and the shoulders, we're just warming up through the joints, getting those fluids moving and nice and warmed up. Okay, we'll do the same thing on the other side. So I'll turn away. Okay, go back to the first leg, and if you can, we're going to draw some big circles at the knee. So we're drawing them with the knee, let's think of that, and then that's going to create circles at the hip. So we're going to go for 4 circles in and 4 circles out. 3 and 4. We'll do the same thing on the other side. If you struggle with these circles, just stick with those leg swings. So 4 in and 4 out. Doesn't matter what order you do them in. Okay, come back to the original leg. We're going to do the same thing from the knee joint and then the ankle joint. So if you can, we're just going to lift the knee up and then draw some circles with the foot. So the movement's coming from the knee. Again, 4 in and 4 out. If you want to, you can stay on that same leg in that position, and we'll do the ankle now. If that leg needs a rest, then just switch it over and do the other leg, and then come back to doing the ankle. Surprising sometimes how hard simple things like standing on one leg are. Okay, so if you've done one leg, let's go to the other. So from the knee, 4 circles in and 4 out. And then from the ankle. Okay, so we've warmed up through the joints. Let's just get the body moving, the heart rate up a little bit now. So we're just going to do some marching. So marching on the spot, if you need to, just start off gentle. And then just take it at your pace. You can either stay here, or you can start to pick that up. And set yourself a target here. Maybe do 30 seconds to a minute, or maybe count up to 100 marches or something like that. And each time you do it, maybe you can just get a little bit longer. So the idea is we're just warming up, getting the heart rate moving, increasing the breathing rate, and making sure we're ready to stretch and then to do the workout. Okay, so we've probably done about 30 seconds there. When you're doing this on your own, you might want to go a little bit longer. You can just pause the video, carry on a bit longer if you need to. Okay, so let's stretch. So first of all, let's take a big reach up. Maybe take a deep breath while you're here and really try and elongate the body. And again, if you can't get your arms straight up, just reach up to wherever you can. Just trying to push that range to, as I say, elongate the body. Okay, bring the arms down. Then we're going to go arms out to the side and just turn your thumbs down to the floor and press the arms back. So we're opening out across the chest, but also you might feel a little stretch into the arms as well. Take some deep breaths here. Good, so we're nice and relaxed when we're stretching. And then take the head down, drop the head, chin to the chest, and bring your arms forward. And you want them in a position as if you've got a big ball in your arms. So this time you're going to feel the stretch across the back of the shoulders. And you want about 20 to 30 seconds in each stretch to get full benefit. Okay, then we'll stretch out biceps and triceps. So these stretches, by the way, are really good to do at the end. I won't repeat it again, but try and do these stretches after your workout. So bicep stretch, we're going to take the arms forward and the hand towards the floor, and then just a gentle pull back on the fingers. So your forearm is facing up to the ceiling. And the other side. Good. Any of these cause you a problem, just leave them out. Okay, then we're going to take arm up behind the head and we're going to stretch out the tricep. So the hand just rests behind the neck and then just a gentle press back on the elbow with the other hand. Try not to pull, let the arm pull the head forward. So you're trying to keep the head nice and upright as you just press that elbow back. And the other side. So you want to feel the stretch down here. Okay, so we've stretched out the upper body, give that a little shake. I'm going to stretch the legs. So we're going to start with a forward fold. So just as always, just go to your limit. So you want your feet planted nice and firmly on the floor, about hip width apart, and then just bend from the hips. You can have a little bend in the knees if you want to. And you're just going to fold to the point that you feel comfortable. And what's quite nice to do here is to just pop your thumbs into your elbows and just to let the weight of your arms and your head just give a little pull. So you should be feeling a nice stretch through the back and possibly at the back of the legs as well. Okay, and then slowly come up. Try not to come up too quickly. Again, we don't want anybody going dizzy. And then we're going to try and stretch the back of those legs a little bit more. So you're going to, and again you can use a chair if you need to, just to rest onto, or the wall, something like that. So you're going to take one foot in front, you're going to bend the back knee and just push the bottom back so that the front leg is straight. The toes are planted on the floor at the moment. And then just gently lower your chest down towards your thigh. If you want to, if you've got it within your flexibility, your strength, you can just bring those toes up and that'll take that stretch a little bit further into the calf. Don't need to do that because we're going to stretch the calves separately. But some people might enjoy that stretch. And then same thing to the other side. So one leg is bent, the front leg is straight, the toes are down. You're just going to push your bottom back and bring your chest down towards your thigh. Remember, you can use that chair or the wall for stability. A kitchen is quite a good place for doing an at-home workout, and you can use countertops and things like that. They're usually quite a nice level to offer stability. And then toes up if you want to. Okay, so actually we'll do that calf stretch now. So wall is brilliant for helping out with the calf stretch. So it's hands against the wall, and you're going to bend, I'll show you the position I'm in, you're going to bend the front leg, back leg is straight and the heel is down towards the ground. In fact, I can stay here. And then you can use the wall to press against, just to really push that back heel into the ground. You can lean forward a little bit more if you want to feel that stretch a bit deeper. Okay, and the other side. So remember, heel to the floor. And you want your toes and your heels in line. You don't want any feet coming out or turning in. So just check that. Back up nice and tall. Keep taking those deep breaths. Okay, now there's one more stretch I'm going to do, which not everybody will be that comfortable with doing. So if you've any problems with your knees, just be very careful, and flexibility might cause a problem. But we can use the strap here just to help us out. So the stretch I'm looking to do is a quad stretch, which would be grabbing hold of your foot and bringing it up towards your bottom. It doesn't have to be all the way up to your bottom. What we do want to aim for is legs parallel. So we don't want a leg out here or back here or sort of very much apart from the other leg. We want those thighs to be parallel. So you can always get somebody to help you with this as well. And again, use your chair or your wall, whatever. So if you want to use the prop, you're just going to pop that strap around your foot, and then that should help you pull it up towards your bottom if you can't reach the foot with the hand. So it's quite a nice stretch, and it's a good one because we want to try and do some work around this area. So it's a good one to stretch out if you can. So that's one side, and then you would do exactly the same thing on the other side. So if I use the strap, remember we want those legs parallel, so just look down, and you can just give a gentle push forward from the hips, from the pelvis as well. Okay, I think we've done a pretty good job at stretching out all the major muscles there. So I think we'll move the chair out of the way for now. So we're going to do some gentle floor and balance work. So we're going to work on strengthening it around the kind of glute and hip area. It's a really vital area for keeping strong. It gives us that strength and stability for maintaining upright, for walking, and all the other activities that you're going to be doing. So we're going to go onto the floor if that's within your flexibility, but I am also going to give you some standing options as well. So I'm going to use a mat, to say, if you just, a bit of carpet or just wherever is comfortable, so you're not feeling too uncomfortable on the floor. So I'm going to grab some water. Remember to keep drinking. Okay. So the first area we're going to work is our tummies. So you might have heard people talking about engaging your core when you're exercising. Literally all that means is kind of just switching these tummy muscles on. And so the way to get used to doing that is just to think about drawing your tummy button in towards your spine. So try not to tense and hold your breath, just gently drawing that tummy button in. And then you're going to sort of engage or tense the muscles of the upper abdomen. So it's almost like a little bit of a bearing down sensation. So when we get into position, I want you to do that. I want you to draw in and tense those muscles a little bit. So this is a marching exercise. So you're going to come down onto the floor, onto your back. You want your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor in line with your hips. So not feet in the middle, feet in line with your hips. And then draw that tummy button in, tense the muscles of your upper abdomen. And this first exercise, you're just going to lift a knee up towards the chest, a little pause at the top. And then now this is the important bit. With control, I want you to try and lower that leg down to the floor. So this is not just flopping your legs up and down. It's sort of up, little pause, and then nice and controlled, leave down. And when your leg's in about this position, you should really feel those tummy muscles working. So this is a lovely exercise for just training ourselves how to switch on those tummy muscles. So up, pause, and then a nice controlled lower down. Now the other thing you just want to check for is that your back is pressed into the floor, so you're not arching through the back as you lower that leg down. So keeping the back pressed down, and that's achieved by keeping that tummy button pulled in towards your spine. So remember, it's quite a nice gentle hold. It's not a tense, it's not holding your breath, definitely not holding your breath. Make sure you keep breathing. So up and hold and slowly lower down. So you're going to aim for about 12 to 20 of these. Now I'd really encourage everybody to start at this level and just check that you're doing it properly. So maybe even just pop your hands onto your tummy and you should be able to feel those muscles working. So, but if you feel that you're doing this and it's super easy, there are some options, okay, to make it a little bit harder. So the first option is to do that with a straight leg. So you can just lower that straight down to just off the floor. And probably the easiest way to do it is just keep going on the same leg, maybe for 12, and then do the same thing. But you want to make sure, again, back's pressed into the floor, tummy muscles are switched on. Okay, next exercise. We're in the same position. So feet in line with the hips, knees bent, tummy pulled in tight. You can pop your hands on the floor just to give you a little bit of extra stability. And then if it's within your strength, your flexibility, we're going to lift the bottom up. So we're working the glute muscles here at the back of the bum. Okay, so remember, tummy stays pulled in. So we're going to lift, a little hold at the top, and then slowly with control, lower down. Okay, so up, hold, and lower down. And again, go for about 12 to 20 of these. Lift, hold. I'm not going to do them all. So as I say, you might want to write these exercises down, or obviously you can just play, pause while you finish your 12 and then carry on. And because I'm offering progressive exercises as well, it would just be too long. Okay, now you've got an option to combine both of these. Well, actually, let me just first of all give you another option for this one. So again, if this is too easy, there are other things you can do. You can put your feet up on a step. That makes it a little bit harder, so maybe the bottom stairs. Or you can come into a single leg. This is a glute bridge, or we can come into a single leg glute bridge. This is a lot harder, so only do this if you feel comfortable doing so. So the important thing is you keep your foot in line with your hip. Again, it doesn't come into the middle. And you want to keep your hips, your pelvis nice and level. So maybe just pop your fingers onto those bones at the front of your pelvis. And it would be exactly the same. You're going to come up, so you're squeezing through the back of the leg and the bum, little pause at the top, and then lowering down. So say this is quite an advanced option, so only do this if you feel capable. And you would aim for about 12 to 20 on each side. Now there's another nice little option that's kind of somewhere between the two, which is a marching bridge. So you would come up into your bridge position. Again, just check that your hips are staying nice and steady, you're not rocking through the hips. The tummy muscles are switched on. And then if you want to, you can opt for the march in that position. So up, little pause, and lower down with control. Okay, so that's marching and glute bridge. So, next exercise, we're going to come on to hands and knees if you're comfortable doing so. If you've got knee problems, you might not want to do this one. We can just, actually I can give you a different option. So if you are comfortable on your hands and knees, some people, if you've got wrist problems, you might want to come onto your knuckles. Just be careful that you're not vulnerable to bending your wrist. So either onto hands or onto knuckles. And you want to make sure that your hands are directly under shoulders and your knees are under hips. Your back's nice and flat and your tummy's pulled in tight. And you can either just work on lifting an arm and then the other arm, and maybe do about 12 of those, and then a leg and the other leg. Or if you're feeling up to it, we can go for opposite arm and leg. So again, you want to go for a little pause, and it might be that you start off with the easier versions, just taking the arms and the legs separately, and then you build up to this opposite arm and leg. So we want to maintain nice stability through the core, no rocking, no dipping, no rounding. Okay, so nice flat back. Picture you've got a tray of drinks on your back and you try not to spill them. Another option, if you're not comfortable on your hands and knees, is you can go down onto the floor and do the same thing. So you just gently be lifting up opposite arm and leg and down, opposite arm and leg and down. But try not to push out through your tummy. Try and maintain that nice tight tummy position. And actually, while we're here, there's another little one we could add in, which is a cobra. So arms are out to the side. And again, just make sure you've got no lower back problems. You can just lift head and shoulders, little pause, and lower back down. So you feel the work in the muscles of the lower back, maybe in the top of the bottom a little bit. So up and back down. And same. Okay. Again, from here, there's another option for you, is to have a go at a plank. You might immediately think, oh my word, you know, you've heard lots of scary things about how hard planks are. They are tough because you're using a lot of muscles, but it's actually quite a gentle position to get into if you're comfortable on your front. So the easiest way to get into a plank is just bring your elbows under your shoulders, forearms are on the floor, hands are out, spread out in front of you. Now there are two options. The easier option is on your knees and the harder option on your toes. So if you want to go for a knee option, you would literally just kind of bring your hips up off the floor. So we're not getting very high up off the floor, but hopefully in this position, you should feel your tummy muscles working. So we don't want any of this. We don't want dipped backs. We've got a nice flat back position and tummy muscles pulled in nice and tight. If you want to go for the full plank version, just curl your toes under and then just also lift your legs or your knees up off the floor. Okay, and then you can just have a go at that. Maybe you can just do a few seconds, come back down, have a little rest, maybe do a few more. Maybe set yourself a goal like a minute and just keep doing that for a minute, and eventually keep getting longer and longer until you can work your way up to doing however long you want to do. Okay, so we've done quite a bit of core there, so we're going to do some glute work now. So the big muscles around the bum, the side of the hips and the bum. So I'll first of all give you the floor version, and then I'll give you a standing version of this as well. So we're onto the side, and then head is wherever is comfortable. If you're comfortable up here, that's fine, or down here, or resting head. You can even put a pillow under your head to make it more comfortable, whatever is right for you. What's important is we're keeping the body nice and stacked. So the shoulders are stacked, the hips are stacked, and the knees are stacked. And first of all, actually, we'll come into a clam. So we're going to draw the knees in a little bit. So if you were to lift the soles of the feet, they're going to be in line with this back, okay? So I say knees, hips, shoulders stacked. You can pop the hand on the floor in front for a bit of stability. And then you're just going to gently lift the knee and back down. So you're keeping the feet together. We all remember these exercises, don't we? But the old ones are the best ones. Okay, so you're lifting and lowering that knee, and you're going to squeeze into the back of the bum. So as I said before, these are really important muscles. They're huge muscles. The glute muscle is the biggest muscle in the body. And very often people neglect to target them. So people can be quite fit, they go out running or whatever, but they forget to specifically target these muscles, and they need a lot of maintenance. But they're so key in our daily movement. Okay. So again, either set yourself a time goal or a rep goal. So maybe do 20 the first time you do it. And they're going to feel easy when you first start, but hopefully very quickly you'll start to feel that muscle working. So I say maybe aim for about 20, maybe aim for 30 seconds. Then you're going to flip that over, do the other side. Whenever you're getting back into position, just check that your position's okay. Make sure your head's comfortable, shoulders, knees, hips stacked, and the feet are in line with your back. I like to pop a hand onto my hip just to check that when I'm lifting and lowering that leg, I'm not rocking back through my hips. Okay, so lift, squeeze and lower. Lift, squeeze and lower. So carry on with those until you've finished your set time or your set number of reps. And then we're going to go into a straight leg position. So you can bend the bottom leg a little bit for stability. You can pop that hand in front. The top leg is straight. Let me just move so you can see my foot. Top leg is straight and the foot is flexed. So it's not dropped down or pointy, it's flexed. The toes are coming up towards the head. And then in a straight leg position, you're going to lift and lower that leg in that straight sideways position. So this time you're working into the side of the hip. So again, the first few will probably feel nice and easy, but very quickly, or not so quickly, depending on how fit you are or how often you do this type of thing, you might start to feel that burn in that muscle. And that's where we want to get to. You want to get to the point where you feel like you can't do any more. And the next day, you should feel a little bit sore in those muscles. Not so much that you can't stand up. We're not trying to cause you pain, but you want to know that you've done a little bit of work. So maybe start off, as I say, with about 20 of those. You could work your way up to 100, 150, however many you want to do. And when you've done one side, you're going to flip over. But before we do that, I'm going to show you the standing version of that. So it's exactly the same exercise. You want a chair or a work surface or something like that, and then you're just gonna, with a nice straight leg and a flexed foot, you're gonna take that leg out to the side. In that position, and from that position, nice straight upper body. Those tummy muscles pulled in nice and tight, so don't want any bent over positions. Okay, nice and straight. Okay. I'm going to come back down onto the floor for the next one, go this way, which is an adductor raise, and the adductors are the inner thigh. So back down into that side position. Obviously, if you're not doing a standing, you're not up and down, you'd be still down on the floor. You're going to bring the top leg in front, on the floor in front, so the knee bent. So nice, quite a nice relaxed position. And then again, you're going to flex the foot of the bottom leg, legs nice and straight, and you're going to lift and lower that bottom leg. Good. And you're sort of squeezing these muscles here of the inner thigh. Again, choose your reps or choose the time that you want to work to. And if this is too easy for you, you can just pop that top leg on top and use the weight of that top leg for some added resistance. And you do the same thing on the other side. But if you don't want to lie down, you can do it standing up. So standing up, you just swing that leg in front of the body. If you wanted to add some resistance into that, and you've got some, I haven't got a small one in here with me actually, but you've got some small elasticated workout bands, you could pop your foot into the band, pop the other side around a table leg or something like that, and that's just going to offer you a little bit of resistance in that exercise. So adductors. Okay, then we're going to come down onto our front, and again I'll give you some options. So we're working this big glute muscle at the back of the bum here. So lying on your front, if you're comfortable doing so, you're going to bend your leg at the knee and flatten the foot so that the sole of the foot is pointing up towards the ceiling, and you're just going to pulse the leg up. So I want you to feel the work right here in the back of the bum. Even pop the hand on the bum just to feel that working. I don't want you to work too much from the hamstrings, I want you to work more from the glutes. If this is uncomfortable on your lower back, let's see if I've got something. You can roll up a jumper, a towel, or just pop a cushion under your hips. Cushion's probably a little bit too wide. Something that's sort of longer and thinner would be better. But that can just help to take a little bit of the pressure off the lower back. So that's the prone version. You could also do that in a hands and knees position. So onto hands and knees, driving the foot up to the ceiling. You could also add in an elasticated band around the knees for a little bit extra resistance on that one. And then your standing version of that, I'm sure you've guessed it, would just be to stand up. Let me work the other leg, otherwise I'll be lopsided. Standing tall, make sure the shoulders relax, tummy's in, and then you just kick in that leg out to the back. What you do want to be careful with on this one is that you're not sort of swinging and doing this sort of movement. So making sure everything else is quite still, and it's only quite a small movement, doesn't have to be very far. But again, just check in, hand on that glute muscle to check that that glute's working. Okay. Just going to move this mat out of the way. The last bit we're going to do in this video is some balance. So, grab some water. So, balance is something that we're good at as children, but we're not so great at as adults, simply because we don't do it. And it's just about keeping those connections from the brain to the muscles. So it's really good to challenge your balance. And most people that come into my gym, whether they're however young or old they are, however fit they are, if they haven't been training balance, can be, quite honestly, quite terrible at it. As am I if I don't regularly do it, okay? So you can have a chair or a wall near you or something like that. We don't want anybody falling over. And we're just going to start really simple with standing on one leg. So use a chair or something if you need to. Maybe just challenge yourself by taking your hands off. And then you've got that there. If you feel a bit wobbly and you need to put your hand back down. So first of all, just try standing on one leg. And then it's really up to you to design or develop your own progressions from that. So you could try lifting and lowering. You could take your hands right off. You could try lifting and lowering that leg. You could try a forward reach, so pointing the toe out and back together. Again, just make sure that you're comfortable doing this and that you've got something around you to catch hold of if you suddenly feel a bit wobbly. You could progress that by taking a leg to the back and also adding in an arm. So we'll go opposite arm and leg. Leg to the back, arm to the front. Again, don't lean into this. You want to stand up nice and tall. And you might feel, just as I did then, if you wobble, you might feel those muscles around your feet and around your kneecaps and things, like working really hard to keep that stability. That's exactly what we want. That's the brain saying those muscles need to be switched on, and that's exactly what we want. So initially, say you might be feeling all this, the muscles are all kind of twitching and all trying to engage, not quite sure what to do. But the more you do this, the more stable you will feel and the more those muscles will settle down. So if you're happy with those ones, basically just keep on going. You could do things like holding one knee up, grab a ball or just a little bit of a weight of some sort, and we could do some kind of wood chop motions, some kind of up and twist, like that. And obviously you do the same on the other side. You can take your arms out to the side and you can try tapping one side of your leg, other side of the leg, just challenging yourself. And as you can see now, my muscles are having to work that little bit harder. Another great way to progress is to close your eyes. You'll be absolutely amazed at how much more difficult that makes it. So even just try, if you feel comfortable, standing on one leg. If this all feels super easy to you, try doing it all with your eyes closed. So just standing on one leg and closing your eyes, and just feel how much harder those muscles have to work. You can stand on a cushion or something like that to create a bit more of a wobbly surface. Okay, so loads of options to do that, but it is worth doing to challenge your balance and proprioception. It helps us avoid those trips and falls. There's actually, I do have a separate video on my YouTube page for balance and proprioception, so if you're interested, look at that. So that's the end of video 1. Video 2, we're going to go straight into the circuit. So as I say, play these separately or play them consecutively, however you want. Thanks for checking in so far.